children. I hope you're all snuggled and ready for your bedtime story. So tonight I'm going to share the tale of Cinderella. Once upon a time there lived a beautiful girl called Cinderella, and she lived with the king and queen who were her mother and father. But unfortunately one day Cinderella's mother died and Cinderella was left alone with her father. Years passed and Cinderella's father remarried, but he remarried a very cruel stepmother. And only a year later, her father died too. So Cinderella was now left with her stepmother and two stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella. So the story continues that Cinderella was no longer a princess. She was treated like a servant. The stepmother would make Cinderella sleep in the basement. She would have to clean all the floors, do all the chores, and she would wear shabby clothes, while her stepsisters, Drizella and Anastasia, looked absolutely beautiful in the finest gowns and wore the most beautiful jewellery. And they were really cruel and unkind to Cinderella. One day, there was a knock on the door. "We have a royal letter for you." Cinderella looked at the letter, and then the stepsisters heard. Give it to me, they said, and they snatched it out of Cinderella's hand. Anastasia ripped open the envelope. "Oh, it's an invitation to the palace ball. It's tomorrow night. Oh, we might have an opportunity to dance with the prince." Well, the stepsisters were so excited, and the stepmother too. "This is incredible, girls. What a wonderful opportunity for you both." Cinderella said, please, can I go too? I would love to go to the palace." "Don't be so ridiculous, Cinderella. You're not going anywhere. You can help us get ready and then you can clean the floors." Cinderella felt so upset and she began to cry. "Oh, don't be so silly, Cinderella. There's no need to cry. Go and do some washing up or something." Cinderella went downstairs into the basement. And she had some lovely little friends that lived with her, some little mice, and she started to cry. And they said, "Cinderella, what is the matter? Why are you so sad?" Cinderella told them about the letter and about the palace ball and that she wasn't able to go. "Oh dear, there must be a way we can help. There must." So the little mice got to work and they tried to help Cinderella to make a very own beautiful dress for her to wear. They were very good at dressmaking, and they put together with some beautiful material a beautiful pink dress. The next day arrived. The girls were getting ready, the stepsisters, for the palace ball. Cinderella, come and do my hair." Cinderella, come and do my nails." "Oh, Cinderella, where are you? Will you hurry up?" Cinderella had so much to do. Then, finally, the girls were ready. They did look very, very beautiful. Cinderella put her pink dress on and she did all her hair. She put on some jewellery that she had from her mother, and then she went upstairs. "What do you think?" she said to her stepsisters. Stepmother was very cruel and she said, "What on earth are you wearing? You're not going to the ball, Cinderella. I have told you this before." And she ripped the sleeve of the dress. Cinderella was so upset she ran down to the basement and began to cry. And with that, a coach had just pulled up to take the stepsisters to the ball. She could hear them laughing and giggling as they left. But poor Cinderella broke down in tears. The mice looked at Cinderella's ripped dress and they felt so sad for her. I wish I could go to the ball," she cried. All of a sudden, there were magic stars in the air. A whoosh and a whoosh over here. And a beautiful fairy godmother stood right in front of Cinderella. "My dear," she said, "you shall go to the ball." And with that she waved her wand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The mice turned into footmen. There was a pumpkin which turned into a coach. And there were some other animals and she turned into horses. Well, Cinderella looked and she could not believe her eyes. "But I can't go in this, it's all ripped," she said. "Leave it with me," said the fairy godmother, and she waved her wand again, and Cinderella wore a beautiful blue dress which touched the floor. Her hair was all tied up in a beautiful bun, with a little tiara. She was sparkling with just so much happiness. But remember, Cinderella, the spell will break by 12 midnight. When the clock strikes 12, you must be at home or all the magic will disappear. Okay, okay, said Cinderella with excitement. She got into the coach and off she went to the palace ball. When she got there, she arrived into the big ballroom. She spotted her stepsisters, but they didn't know it was her. The prince saw Cinderella enter the room and looked straight at her. And immediately he came and asked her to dance. Would you like to dance? Said the prince. Oh, yes, please. It would be my honour, said Cinderella. The prince and Cinderella danced all night long. Nobody could even get one dance with the prince. The stepsisters were very angry. Who is that woman? And why is she dancing with the prince all night? He doesn't even look at us. What a waste of time, they said. Anyway, it was getting very late. All of a sudden, the clock began to strike 12 and Cinderella remembered the words of her fairy godmother. Ding! I've got to go, she said. But you can't go, we're having such a wonderful time, said the prince. I will see you again, I promise I'll see you again. And off she ran. She ran down the steps of the palace, but one of her glass slippers fell off, but she carried on going. And as she ran, she got in the coach. But the clocks was striking 12, the last strike of 12, dong! And all of the animals, the pumpkin, her dress, all turned back to normal. The little mice were on the floor, the pumpkin was on the floor, and Cinderella was back in her ripped dress. She managed to get home just in time before the stepsisters returned home. She went down into the basement and she cuddled up in her blankets, thinking about the night. She couldn't believe that she'd been able to dance with the prince. The following day, Cinderella got up and she was doing her chores. There was a knock on the door. It is the man from the royal palace. We are here because we are looking for the lady that will fit the slipper. If you would like to try the slipper on, you must come to the palace today between 10 and 4. And anyone whose foot fits the slipper shall marry the prince. Cinderella overheard what the royal man had said. Oh my goodness. The stepsisters were just in shock. That means that we could get a chance to marry the prince, said Drizella and Anastasia. The stepmother, she was overjoyed. This would give her daughters a real chance. So that day they travelled to the palace, but Cinderella was not allowed to go. They tried on Anastasia's foot into the slipper. She pushed and she pushed, but she just couldn't fit it in. And then it was Drizella's turn. She pushed her foot in. Oh, but it was just oozing out of the sides. There's no way the shoe fits you. Oh, let me try again, said Drizella. Please, please. She tried one more time, but there was no way her foot was going to get in there. As they left the palace, Cinderella had made her way there all by herself. She went up the palace steps. It was nearly 4 o'clock. Are you here to try on the slipper? Said one of the royal people. Yes, I am, said Cinderella. Come in quickly then, before we have to shut. She put her foot into the slipper. The prince was stood just in the doorway, and he recognised Cinderella, and it fit perfectly. It is you, said the prince. It is me, it's Cinderella. As the slipper fit onto Cinderella's shoe, all the magic returned, and she was wearing her beautiful blue dress again. The prince and Cinderella were married, and they lived happily ever after. So that's the way that I like to tell Cinderella's story. I really hope you've enjoyed it today, and I can't wait to tell you more stories again soon. Goodbye.